Hi, hello, how are we doing? I'm Sin, welcome to my booktube channel and welcome to this video where I'm going to be talking about 26 books that are either new releases or very recently released or just books that I've heard about very recently. I'm trying to keep these mostly new releases, but I'm also just not 100% sure if they all are new releases or not. Anyway, yeah, these are just 26 books that I'm interested in reading. This isn't like I am 100% going to be reading these. I think I'm going to do a separate video of a shorter list where it's kind of a case of I do think I want to hold myself to that and definitely read those books. But for now, this is just a list of 26 books that I feel like I could have a really good time reading. Some of these are series that have new books coming out, I believe, and so that's kind of a case of, let's see. Oh my god, there's a fly that's just going crazy right now. But anyway, let's just dive right into this. I don't really know what all of these are about. Honestly, I don't think I know what any of these are about anymore. It's been ages since I last actually looked into what they were and decided to make this list. So I guess I'm just gonna name them to you, put the cover up, and we'll go from there. We'll see how this goes. This might be a little bit of a weird one. Okay, so I currently have the tab open for this book so I can just read the description over here and tell you what the genre is and all of that. But the first book on my list is The Poet Empress by Shen Tao. I heard of this in a video that Jamie Foxx made where she was talking about 26 books that she was anticipating. I believe all of the books that she mentioned in that video were all new releases. And the beginning of my list, a lot of these are from her, I think. Actually, wait, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 of these do come directly from her video where she just spoke about them and I was like, yeah, these are going on my list. Anyway, but The Poet Empress by Shen Tao it's fiction, fantasy, dark, emotional, tense, and medium-paced. And the description says, in the waning years of the Azalea dynasty, the emperor is dying, the land consumed by famine, and poetry magic lost to all except the powerful. Wei Yin is desperate. After the 5th death of a sibling, with her family and village on the brink of starvation, she will do anything to save those she loves, even offer herself as a concubine to the cruel heir of the beautiful and brutal Azalea house. But in a twist of fate, the palace stands on the knife edge of civil war, with Wei trapped in its center, at the side of a violent prince. Oh my god, the flies, guys. Anyway, to survive, Wei must harden her heart, rely on her wit, and become dangerous herself, even if it means becoming a poet in a world where women are forbidden to read, and composing the most powerful spell of all, a ballad of death and love. Now, I have never heard of a fantasy novel where poetry is part of the magic system, and that's what really got me, because that's just so unique, such a particular idea, and I just immediately was like on my list right now. Okay, so let's just get this. It's called An Arcane Study of Stars by Sydney J. Shields, and this one is fiction, fantasy, romance. Now, I'm not much of a romance person, but the way that Jamie spoke about this in her video got me curious, so I'm just gonna read the description to you. It says, from Sydney Shields, the breakout author of The Honey Witch, comes An Arcane Study of Stars, a historical dark academia fantasy filled with ancient secret societies, a swoon-worthy rivals to lovers romance, and dangerous deals made after dark. Perfect for fans of the Atlas 6 and the Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. Now, see, this is what got me, because I've read the Atlas 6 and I did really enjoy that. I haven't read the Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I feel like I really should, because it does sound very up my alley, but this just sounds really, really cool. I like that it's dark academia. I like the idea of secret societies, and it just really stuck out to me. But anyway, let's just read the actual description here. When Claudia, can't say that surname, I'm skipping that, is rejected from Cygnus University, a devilish stranger named Dorian appears in her nightmares and offers her a bargain. He will get her into Cygnus if she learns how to free him from a prison of stars. Prison of stars, guys, that sounds so cool. He takes a bite of her soul to seal the deal, and Claudia wakes to a letter, guys, I can't read, from the High Sage of Cygnus stating she will take the place of Odette Dufort, Dufo? I don't know. A rhetoric student who passed away. I'm not going to read the rest of that because I do like going into books relatively blind, but literally just that first paragraph from the description is so cool. I mean, we've got a prison of stars. We have a like fancy schmancy university. We have a student who didn't get in and is now getting in because she made a deal with someone seemingly very, very evil. Because why are you in a prison of stars? What did you do? So many questions. I need to know more. Okay, next up, we have The Last Contract of Isako by Fonda Lee. So this one is fiction. It's science fiction, and it's by the author of, what is that series called? Let me check. Let me see if I can find it. The Jade City ones, the Greenbone Saga. And I have heard very good things about that. I do definitely want to get into that at some point, but this book sounds really good. It's sci-fi, and I've been getting more into sci-fi lately. Anyway, let's just read the description. It says, Isako is a legendary swordswoman, but every legend must come to an end. When her longtime client unexpectedly retires, she plans to follow, to walk out into the frozen wasteland of their planet with her head held high and her family enriched by her death. But when she's offered a final mission, she can't refuse, especially when she realizes who lies at the center of it all. Martin, like Martim, anyway, her last and worst apprentice, who somehow made his way to. As she's thrust into a world of corporate espionage and shadowy secrets, what she uncovers could forever change humanity's existence among the stars. That sounds so cool. I mean, we've got a swordswoman who is seemingly some kind of like assassin-esque person. Really cool concept already over there. We have an apprentice that this person doesn't like, and we have a sentence that says something about her death. So it seems like retiring and going into this wasteland is death, which is an interesting idea and concept. I'm very curious about what exactly that means. And the like title line is literally, to serve is to live is to die. And I just love that sentence. That's just really intriguing as well. And I just heard amazing things about Fonda Lee's writing in general, and I feel like I'd get along with her writing really well. The next one on my list is the Six of Crows novella by Leigh Bardugo, which I don't know what it's called. I never actually looked at what the name was, but Jamie mentioned that there was a novella for Six of Crows coming out. I really liked the Six of Crows duology, so I figured, hey, it's a little novella, why not add it to the list so I can remember to keep an eye out for it when it does come out. I have no idea when this comes out, but along that same line, I have the Ninth House trilogy by Leigh Bardugo. So as of right now, there are only 2 books out. It's the Ninth House and Hellbent? I don't know. But apparently there's a 3rd book coming out which is going to be completing this trilogy, and I've heard amazing things. I've heard very good things, but I've also heard a lot of mixed reviews. So I'm going to give Ninth House, obviously, the first book a go, and then from there I think I'll decide whether or not I'm going to continue the entire trilogy. But I figured I'd put this in this category since the last book is coming out next year, so it is technically anticipated and like a new release. But for me, it's not quite a new release because I haven't read the first 2. Anyway, that's that. That's all about Leigh Bardugo, I think, on this list. Okay, so right under that, I have the words "any book" by V.E. Schwab. So currently, I think she is coming out with a new book. I don't know what it's called, but anyway, so she has been everywhere. She's a very popular author, and for some reason, I've just never read any books by her. She's releasing Victorious next year, which is meant to be the finale to her Villains trilogy, so I'm assuming that this is part, I don't know what this is part of, but anyway, I just want to read anything by V.E. Schwab, whether it's starting the trilogy that Victorious is related to, or starting just any like random book by her. I don't know how I'm gonna go about this. If anyone has recommendations of how to actually get into V.E. Schwab's works and what the best book to start with is, or the best series, trilogy, duology, I don't know all too much. I just know that she sounds like an author I'd like. That's the only information I have for you. So my next one is The Raven Scholar by Antonia Hodgson. I think it was Freya on Booktube that I heard speaking about this, and Jamie might have mentioned it in the video, I don't know. But she has written specifically The Raven Scholar, and this is, if I'm remembering correctly, it's a world where there are kind of like, for lack of a better term, factions, and these factions are based off of animals, and each year or like each X amount of years, I don't know, they compete in like some like trials to figure out who the next emperor will be. Something like that. I don't know. But it sounds really interesting, and from what I've heard, it seems like the second book in this trilogy. I think it's going to be a trilogy. The second book seems to be coming out next year, so I do think that I'd like to get into that and maybe try out the first book and see if I'm interested in sticking with the series. But that's another one of those where it's a case of, am I anticipating the actual book coming out? Not necessarily. However, there is a new book coming out and I do want to try getting into the series potentially. This is another one of those weird ones where it's not quite new release, but there's a new release in relation to it that's coming out that I will likely read if I do get round to reading this. Obviously, like I said, this is not a like do or die list. Of course, we have R.F. Kuang's new book that's coming out next year called Taipei Story. And from what I've heard, this is apparently meant to be a little bit more of a romance. I am currently reading Catabasis, however you'd like to pronounce that, which is, I think, the first book that she's ever written that's had a stronger romance plot. I don't think that I would describe this as a romance per se, at least not yet. I'm not far enough into it to really be making any calls on that, so I'm just gonna shut up before I get ahead of myself. I don't actually know what Taipei Story is gonna be about, and I don't want to know. I'll read anything she writes. This, from what I've heard though, is going to be a literary fiction, like in genre, with some romance to it. I don't know. I've heard like mixed information on it, and I don't think I want to know. I think I just want to read it. And that's all that matters. Okay, so this is The Ending Writes Itself by Evelyn Clark. Obviously this is on my list. And this is a fiction mystery thriller. Apparently it's dark, mysterious, tense, medium-paced, all that good stuff. And as of right now, from the ARC readers, this has 4.11 stars average on Storygraph, which is what I use. So that's a pretty good sign, because I feel like from my experience, Storygraph readers seem to be a little bit more cutthroat with their reviews than Goodreads, but it also could just be like not as many people use Storygraph, so there's just less reviews. That's maybe why, I don't know. And I'm not too sure what this is about, but it says 6 authors, 1 private island, 72 hours to write the ending that will change their lives, and that's all I need to know. Authors, private island, saving lives, saving their own lives, impacting their lives. It's a thriller, and I enjoy a good thriller horror here and there, so yeah, definitely gonna keep my eye out for whenever this comes out, and hopefully I'll read it. Maybe I'll get distracted by other things, who knows. So the next 2 books are by the same author. One of these is an actual new release, and then the other one is just a book that I've heard a lot about that sounds really good, that I think came out this year, 2025? Not sure. But both of these are by C.G. Drews. The first one is the one that's coming out next year, which is called You Did Nothing Wrong. And it sounded interesting when Jamie spoke about it. I'm not gonna go and read the description to you because I like that I forgot what it's about. I like going into things blind. Anyway, and then the next one is Hazelthorn, which I first heard about when Jamie read it in one of her videos, I think. She either read it in a vlog or she just spoke about it in a wrap-up. Either way, she spoke about it, and I went, that's the one. That's for me. Because it's gothic. And I love gothic literature so much. That's like, that's my cup of tea, and that's all it is. Okay, so the next one is by Brandon Sanderson. I'm currently reading Yumi and the Nightmare Painter by Brandon Sanderson. This is the first book I've ever read by him, and I'm not very far into it, but I am enjoying it so far, so I figured why not add his new standalone release that's coming out next year. I don't know if I actually said the title. It's called The Fires of December. I don't know what it's about, and I don't think I want to know what it's about. I feel like I trust Brandon Sanderson. He's a high fantasy predominantly author, and I like high fantasy, and from my experience thus far with Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, I think I trust him. Obviously, I'll read more books by him throughout the year next year before this book comes out, this new one, and if I end up deciding I don't really jive with his writing in a general sense, then maybe I'll be more particular about it, but as of right now, it's on the list. Okay, the next one's another case of this is actually a series, and I need to obviously read the books that are out. However, apparently there's a new book that might be coming out. So this is just a rumor, by the way. I don't know if anything's actually coming out here, but Red Rising, the series by Pierce Brown, I really want to read it. I've heard incredible things about it from multiple people at this point, all over the like bookish space on the internet. And rumor has it there might be a new book coming out next year for this series. So it's on the list for that reason, and I'm just curious. I'm just very, very curious. Okay, next up we have Graceless Heart by Isabel Ibanez? I don't know. But this is a book where the cover looked really cool. I saw it on NetGalley and I decided to add it to my list on NetGalley of like, hey, can I request this from you please? So I'm hoping that I can get the ARC for the audiobook and listen to it before the year ends. But if not, I'm just gonna keep this on my radar so I can check it out. I will say that this isn't 100% my kind of thing because it's been described from what I've seen as a romance fantasy, because obviously I looked it up afterwards, I was curious. A fantasy romance. However, I'm open to fantasy romances because generally speaking, they're more fantasy than they are romance. It's like a subplot of romance. It's the romanticities where I have a problem. They don't work for me and I feel like I'm missing out. I do, don't get me wrong. Full respect to everyone that reads romantasy and enjoys it. I love that for you. But anyway, this is on my radar. You know, this is something I just found out about today. And apparently, Toshikazu Kawaguchi, the author who's been doing the like Before the Coffee Gets Cold series, those books, Tales from the Cafe, etc., etc., he has a new one coming out in this little series of his that's called Before I Knew I Loved You. And I'm so far into the series now. I have 2 books left and then I'm fully caught up. I feel like I'm obligated to continue. And as of right now, so far, with the 3 that I've read to this point, they've all been above a 4-star. I'm having a good time. So I'm not upset at all to like continue and to get more by him. However, I am wondering, when are you gonna wrap things up? So the next book, oh my god, a moth. I hate moths. Anyway, as I was saying, after getting interrupted by a moth. So the next one is called Murder Bimbo by Rebecca Novak. This is a fiction thriller. I think it might be kind of horror-esque. I'm just gonna read the like in bold section. It says, an exhilarating and provocative debut, perfect for fans of My Sister the Serial Killer, Yellowface, and Killing Eve, the origin story of sex worker turned assassin turned unlikely folk hero, Murder Bimbo as told by the bimbo herself. Sounds fun, sounds whimsical, sounds like a good time. I'm anticipating it. Okay, so this one's just a quick one that I'm gonna mention, Heartstopper Volume 6. Anticipating it, apparently it's coming out next year. Okay, so the next one that I have is called Odessa by Gabrielle Shaw, I believe. I'm struggling to read my own handwriting. Ah, there it is. Okay, so this one is a fiction historical horror, rumor has it. I should probably click on the official one. So it's a fiction, fantasy, horror, and it's literary. That's a lot of genres to be, and I love that for it. So this is described as a powerfully imagined Russia, in a powerfully imagined Russia at the height of the pogroms? I don't know. A grief-stricken family turn to ancient magic to bring their daughter back from the grave. This is giving me big Pet Sematary vibes, and I'm living for it. So definitely gonna be on my radar for next year. Next up is another horror. This is fiction horror. It's described as dark, sad, tense, and fast-paced. This is a shorter book as well, I'm now seeing. It's only 218 pages, but this is Molka, M-O-L-K-A, by Monica Kim. And it says Molka, the Korean term for spy cameras secretly and illegally installed, often to capture voyeuristic images and videos. Oh my god, I haven't read the definition for this yet. I just like saw it on the interwebs and went, ooh, I like that cover. And I just saw that it was a horror and I thought, okay, cool. That is insane. That's crazy. I love that. But okay, it says, Daye can't believe her luck when she finds herself in a whirlwind romance with handsome, charismatic Hyukjun, the heir to the multi-million-dollar fortune. But when a shocking revelation threatens everything, the couple has been caught on a spy cam amid Korea's growing Molka epidemic. And the video is all over the internet. When Hyukjun flees the country to avoid the intense public scrutiny, Daye is left to grapple with the ramifications of her own and the demons from her childhood, long dormant, begin to surface. Amid the chaos, she catches the attention of Junyoung, a nerdy, introverted IT tech at work. Junyoung harbors a dark secret. He has been spying on the women at work with his own hidden cameras. As Dae's life begins to unravel, she unknowingly becomes the sole target of Junyoung's perverse obsession. When the facts surrounding the invasion of her privacy come to light, Dae is faced with the humiliating truth. Her pain and hurt turn to rage as she faces her past. Her desire for vengeance is insatiable, and she will not rest until the men who have wronged her have paid in blood. Guys, that is shot to the top of my list. I'm excited. Okay, so the next one. This one is a fiction fantasy. It's called The Girl with a Thousand Faces by Sun Yi Dean, and I don't want to read what the description says, but the cover is stunning and that's all I have to say. Okay, next up I have This Mortal Heart by Jennifer Saint. So this one's about Aphrodite, goddess of love. It says Aphrodite, goddess of love, wields unparalleled power over every divine and mortal heart. Though her world is one of beauty, she is the most dangerous god of all, ruled by passion regardless of consequences. And then Ares, god of war, is her perfect contradiction, feared, unwanted, and relentless in his devotion to chaos. Where she breathes life into longing, he thrives in destruction. And yet gods are no more immune to love and loss than anyone else, and soon their lives collide. But even divine love can't protect them from the fates of Mount Olympus, and whilst the god of war may be capable of greater love than anyone else, so may the goddess of love be capable of the gravest mistakes. So Jennifer Saint is known for writing Greek myth-inspired stories, and I think I specifically own Ariadne by her, and I'm very excited to read it. I anticipate absolutely adoring it and loving it, and once I do read it, I will know whether I like her writing or not, but this is definitely on my radar because I love Aphrodite and I love Ares and I just love Greek mythology in general, so the more I can get, the better. So if you have any recommended Greek myth books, if you don't leave them in the comments, I might cry. I'm kidding. You have rights, do whatever you want. The next one is by Olivia Blake. I've only read the Atlas 6 by her, sue me, but I do really badly want to read, is it called Ninth House? Is it on this list? Am I hallucinating? Yes, I mentioned it. No, Ninth House is Leigh Bardugo. What am I thinking of? Anyway, she has a new book called Dreamland coming out. I want to read the book that she released this year called Girl Dinner. This one's fantasy, and I think fantasy horror. It says an intimate, contemporary, and visceral gothic novel about family secrets, unsolved murders, and ill-fated summer love by multiple New York Times best-selling sensation Olivia Blake. Ooh. Anyway, I've read the Atlas 6 by her, and I'm struggling to think of I'm thinking of that. She has a duology that I want to read. I'm pretty sure I'm thinking of Masters of Death. Okay, so next one, we're nearing the end. I think I have like 3 left to mention. 4, yeah, something like that. Anyway, this is The Fourth Princess. It says a gothic novel of old Shanghai. It's by Janie Chang. I almost said Shang, I'm so sorry. Anyway, this is a historical fiction, and the description says, from the internationally best-selling author of The Porcelain Moon comes a haunting gothic novel set in 1911 China. 2 young women living in a crumbling, once grand Shanghai mansion face danger as secrets of their pasts come to light, even as the mansion's own secret threatens the present. So I don't want to know any more than that. The cover is really cool. It's historical fiction. I love a good historical fiction every now and then, and this is on my radar, and this is all I want to know about this, so unfortunately I won't be reading the description, but you can definitely check it out. So the next one is called Inna Murata by Ava Reed. So this is seemingly the first in a duology. It says the House of Teeth duology #1. So yeah, anyway, but Ava Reed, I think, is probably best known for A Study in Drowning, and this one, I heard someone say something about necromancy, and I said, sign me up, because that sounds really interesting. I don't read a lot of books that have necromancy in them. Might as well start now. Anyway, the genres are fiction, fantasy, and romance. Again, romance isn't really my thing, however, necromancy is an interesting concept, and I haven't read much, like I said. So I feel like maybe this could be good. Maybe I could enjoy this, and I'm gonna give it a go. So yeah. Okay, so next book, I think this is the second last one, so we're wrapping up, is Half His Age by Jeanette McCurdy. Anyway, so if you're unfamiliar, Jeanette McCurdy is the woman, the lady, the girl who played Sam in Sam and Cat and in iCarly, and she had a very rough childhood, and she wrote a memoir about that, which is called I'm Glad My Mom Died, and I have the audiobook for that. I've yet to read it, but I've heard really good things. And this is a fiction. It's a contemporary literary fiction, and this is apparently about a teenager who falls in love with her married and very much so older than her writing teacher, English teacher, something like that. Okay, anyway, and I'm curious. I'm intrigued to see whether her skills in having written her memoir and how that is so well received. I want to see how the writing from her memoir versus this fiction novel compare, and whether this is a category that is something that she'd be good at. I'm sure she'll come out with more after this, because it seems like she is breaking out into the writing world, and I'm just curious. So the last one, this is a little silly, but it says possible Rick Riordan book. So Rick Riordan released, I think it's titled The Court of the Dead. This is the second book in his, I don't know if it's a series, I don't know if it's a trilogy or a duology, but it is the book that comes after The Sun and the Star, which is about Nico D'Angelo and Will Solis, and that was really good. 5 stars. Read it this year. And this next book that I just mentioned, The Court of the Dead, has come out this year, and I'm getting my hands on it as soon as humanly possible, and I am reading it as soon as I get my hands on it. I had a great time. Now, is he releasing a book in 2026? No? Question mark? Maybe? Yes? It's unconfirmed. He himself has said that he might release another book in 2026, but that's unconfirmed. He has, however, confirmed that 2027 will be when he releases the final book in the three extra Percy Jackson books that come after all of the other Percy Jackson books that are meant to follow him in high school. Anyway, that he's doing like a little trilogy there, and that last one, the third one, comes out in 2027. However, there are no confirmed books for 2026, but like I said, he said he might release one. So I'm putting this here because I want everyone to know that I'm keeping my eyes peeled so aggressively, and that if he releases a book in 2026, I will know, I will find out, and I will read it, and I will share it with everyone. I just want that to be known. Okay, that is all. That is everything on my list. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I hope you had a great time. Like, comment, subscribe. Leave any recommendations of either books that have existed, have already been released, or new releases that you're anticipating that you think I might enjoy, or just share them because you can, even if you think I'd hate it. I'm curious. Tell me about the books you want to read. I don't know. Anyway, that's all. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.